What's going on, guys? This is a bit of a different video. Usually, obviously, I'm in front of the camera with the screen and everything behind me, and a bit more professional. It's a little more informal because something kind of broke that is amazing, actually, for a lot of creators out there, or people who are looking to be creators, or are fans of Nintendo products or games and want to share them online without having to be worried about getting a strike of some kind or a claim. A claim's okay. Yeah, it's annoying, but life moves on and you can move on from it and everything. But strikes were annoying, things of that nature. But it looks like Nintendo is maybe understanding the internet a bit better. This is something that a lot of people have complained about with pretty good reason, I would say, online, and that's the Nintendo Creators Program. It pretty much goes against what a lot of game companies do with things like YouTube, with creators, with influencers. Generally, they kind of lean into that, and they want them to make content for them. Indie developers always want content creators to make content for that game. Nintendo's been kind of weird. It's almost like they don't really understand the internet that well, or they don't really see the value of it. But what's interesting here is they have ended the creators program. That's actually what we're looking at here. This went up on Twitter, and then it posted on their website here. And it is end of the Nintendo Creators Program and information about guidelines. I'm going to explain to you a bit about what the Creators Program was and kind of some of the stuff we had to do to try to get around it and what games we could dodge, for example. It was a whole thing to figure out, and I know right now there are a lot of creators that are literally getting confetti from their ceiling right now because it is a big, big deal, and it actually benefits Nintendo heavily to do this, and we're going to talk about that very quickly as well. And then we're going to test this right here in this video. We're going to jump over to some Mario Tennis footage while I commentate over it to meet their guidelines that they have now. They have new guidelines, and they make sense. They want you to be transformative. Yeah, I get that. This is their release here, essentially their press release announcement on their website. We are ending the Nintendo Creators Program to make it easier for content creators to make and monetize videos that contain Nintendo game content. We will no longer ask creators to submit their videos to Nintendo Creators Program. I did that like 3 times, and it wasn't worth it. And creators can continue showing their passion for Nintendo by following Nintendo's guidelines, which they have located there. We'll jump over to that. And they're going to be closing this end of December 2018. And they'll actually be no longer accepting videos, channels, or anything at this time unless you've been registered. Technically, I'm registered, but it's not even worth showing the back office because there's not much there anymore. They have pretty much cut it down completely. And there's no reason to go there unless you're submitting a video. So let me go over to their guidelines here. These are the new guidelines for the game content guidelines for sharing for online and image sharing platforms. And honestly, they're about what I'd expect them to be. They say you may monetize your videos and channels using the monetization methods separately specified by Nintendo. Other forms of monetization of our intellectual property for commercial purposes are not permitted. Yeah, that makes sense. Like remember how we saw those, what was those go-karts in China that people were trying to sell that were all Mario Kart themed? Yeah, you can't really do that. So, okay, sure. And then it does say, we encourage you to create videos that include your creative input and commentary. Videos and images that contain mere copies of Nintendo game content without creative input or commentary are not permitted. You may, however, post gameplay videos and screenshots using Nintendo system features such as the capture button on Nintendo Switch without additional input or commentary. Now, they really want people to, of course, transform the content, whether you're making a guide. Let's say you're showing how to get the Master Sword in Breath of the Wild, or maybe you're trying to get the equipment in Skyrim, the Zelda themed equipment. That makes sense because you've then taken the game content of you playing it and then transformed it into a guide, and then you probably have some kind of voiceover to help people get to that point. No longer will we have to go through some crazy loopholes to make that work, because we had to go through a lot of cutting up content that didn't need to be cut up to try to game the system. It was a whole thing. Now it looks like they won't do that. And we didn't have to do that for other games or other companies. They just wanted you to do it. And what's good about this is there will be a lot more interest in Nintendo games and content, because you don't have to worry about, say, you do all this work and you get a strike, or you do all this work and you get a claim. The biggest thing was claims. At that point, Nintendo takes all of the revenue, and they don't give any to the creator at all. And for some that have to hold up, like companies even in some cases, yeah, that could be an issue. So this is going to make creating the content for them much more compelling. They're going to get more people in. And of course, that just means more of their content kind of getting shared around. Now, let me show you something here. The creators program had something called a whitelist. The whitelist is no longer active. If you go to the whitelist, it's just not there. It takes you to this page here. So I had to go to the Wayback Machine and grab a snapshot of it. And I want to show you what we would have to go through here. So this, as you're seeing here, is the whitelist. These are all games that are part of the Nintendo Creators Program, meaning if you created content with prolonged clips from these, and by prolonged, I mean like more than 10 to 15 seconds, and you're just cutting. So think of somebody who's making a 10, 12, 13, maybe even 15-minute guide for something. That's a lot of cutting, and music, and remember, people were getting claimed for the switch sound and 1-2 switch. It sounds like none of that's going to be happening anymore. So these are all of the games we would have to go here and look at. So here, there's the 1-2 switch, ARMS, the Labo kits. If you had music or prolonged footage of that, they would claim it. Tropical Freeze. These are all the games here. These are just from the Switch library. Pokemon is not part of that because if you remember, that's part of the Pokemon Company. So they don't actually allow this to be in the creators program. The Pokemon Company wants you to play their games. So it's a good thing. Then we have the Nintendo Switch downloadable software, smart devices. They would claim Fire Emblem Heroes, Mario Run, Pocket Camp. I had to cut up so many Pocket Camp clips if I did a video on anything about it, because that one they hit hard. All the stuff from the Wii U, Nintendo 3DS, and we're not done. Check this out. The Wii, the DS, it keeps the GameCube. That's if I want to do anything for Metroid back then, like Metroid Prime, because we'll talk about that at some point. But because Metroid Prime, of course, hit Prime 4, I was like, oh, let's get some footage. Let's post Metroid Prime. I'll record it with that Eon adapter and everything. They would claim it even if it was footage I recorded straight up here and then posted it. The Nintendo 64 was claimed. The Game Boy Advance was claimed. The Game Boy was claimed. The Super Nintendo, the Nintendo. They would even claim, like, I think Famicom stuff. So they've been doing this for a while, and it's been a real issue. And I think it has turned quite a few creators actually away from this whole thing. And I know it's made, like, editing for some people way more than it should be. So there's a couple things that will benefit here. More people will essentially start making Nintendo content or be more comfortable with it. Others will probably be able to get videos out more frequently, actually, because editing will probably be cut down heavily, just because you're not cutting up clips so much and trying to make it all work, and maybe you upload once and it gets claimed, you upload again. Angry Joe's talked about this a lot in his videos, where he'll upload and then it gets claimed, then he uploads again, and he has to do all this stuff. You turn the video backwards, you try to do all this stuff just to make it work. Looks like you won't be doing that anymore. But how can we figure that out? Well, I have some recorded Mario Tennis footage that I recorded forever ago, like when it first came out. So why don't we put that on screen here? I'll cut the volume on and let's see what happens. Let's see if it's in effect yet. And I'll let you guys know in a pinned comment down below if they are claiming these. So without further ado, let's get rid of that. Here's our Mario Tennis footage from, was this the first day it came out? It was a long time ago. Let me go ahead and kick on the desktop sound, and here we go. So I don't know if this is from the first day. This might have been the beta. I'm trying to remember. But clearly, I'm Mario because I just scored. But this Mario Tennis I haven't played in a while. I know they're adding a lot of content to it, but I kind of fell out of it because the online started to die down a bit, especially recently when the online service took over, when you're paying for it. But this was a good Mario Tennis for the mechanics. The GameCube version is still my favorite one, which was on that whitelist. Hey, I guess I can play that online now if I want. The GameCube one was my favorite one, and this one was right there with the mechanics. This one's probably better mechanically than the GameCube version, but this one, of course, doesn't have the amount of content that the GameCube version had, but this does have online connectivity. What am I doing? Okay, maybe I was hanging out and talking or something. I think I'm just playing the computer because they're not even hitting it back correctly half the time, but I'm up 40 love, so, it's going well for me here. I haven't revisited since maybe 3 months ago? 3 months ago. This actually came out around Too Many Games time, so Evan and I both got copies, and we actually were playing at, like, the hotel and stuff, because I was trying to get it done so I could do a solid review of it, so I'm going to play through the single player. and it was single player could have been better. I mean, I did a review on it. You guys can watch it, but more or less, this was a good chunk of Nintendo first-party title footage. This, with the sound intact, normally would have been claimed. Even if the sound was turned down low, what you've seen here should have been claimed by Nintendo's creator program. So if it's not in effect, we'll see. If it's in effect, it'll get claimed, and then maybe they release those claims. That's another interesting thing that creators will probably be excited about. I bet you a lot of those old videos, especially if they end it, the monetization and stuff, all that status, they'll all just be broken, which means they'll default back to the creator, which means a lot of creators will probably get a lot of their videos back. So you might watch some of your favorite creators who are Nintendo themed or really into Nintendo stuff. You might see them get really excited tonight or tomorrow or whenever this goes away. They said they're shutting down the site, I think, at the end of March, but they are going to, I guess, stop the creators program completely by the end of December, probably because they still have payouts to put out. But this was a prolonged look at Mario Tennis Aces on the Switch, for no other purpose than to see if they will claim it. Exciting stuff, though, guys. If you are someone who's thinking about getting into Creators Pro, or Creators Pro, don't get in that. But if you're someone who's thinking about getting onto YouTube and you weren't sure about Nintendo because you hear about all this stuff when it comes to the Creators Program and everything, well, it seems like Nintendo is understanding the online, or something's happening. Remember, they changed to a younger president, and all of a sudden, this happens. So it's something to think about. Maybe Nintendo, maybe they see the value in online content creators and influencers, and that's exciting stuff because that might bring newer opportunities for people you watch online. And maybe, I mean, a lot of people are starting to like YouTubers and creators now more so as critics, more so than, say, online websites now. So I get that. And there's a lot of pretty fun Nintendo YouTubers that I wouldn't mind seeing, going out to Nintendo and previewing the latest game, and then be able to come home and post footage on their YouTube channel. This is really cool stuff. So exciting stuff. I won against what was probably one of the easiest computers to beat, but good stuff. Thanks, guys, for watching. If you're a creator, let me know in the comments how excited you are. I'm sure I know a couple. Probably Arlo. Arlo's probably really excited. There's a couple that are probably really excited right now. So I'm happy for everyone who spends a lot of time with Nintendo. It'll be a bit easier for me for some of the stuff. Smash is coming up. How was I going to do Smash without that? But hey, cool. Good stuff. Thanks, guys, for watching. Let me know anything about this down below, especially if you're somebody who's been looking into getting into YouTube and maybe this has been putting you off. Are you interested now? It's great. It's good to see this. It's like Nintendo kind of coming into the 21st or 20th century or whatever. It basically, they're coming into the online era now. Now they've got to fix their online, and we'll be getting there, really. Thanks, guys, for watching. I'll see you next time.